Um, on behalf of Dempo Charity Trust, Srinivasa Sinai Dempo College of Commerce and Economics, I extend a warm welcome to each one of you to this faculty development program. This event has been organized in collaboration with esteemed institutions, that is Chanakya University in Bengaluru, Choice College of Arts and Commerce in Pune, Swami Sajanand College of Commerce and Management in Gujarat, and Dempe College of Arts and Science in Goa. In education, much like in life, we occasionally face challenges that may seem insurmountable according to the principles of aerodynamics. The bumblebee should not be able to fly. Its wings are too small to support the weight of its body. Yet, the bumblebee defies these expectations and flies regardless. This program embodies that spirit of resilience and adaptability, despite the demands of an ever evolving educational landscape. We too strive to overcome limitations, pursue growth, and achieve what might once have seemed impossible. This faculty development program is an opportunity to explore innovative teaching methodologies, exchange ideas, and strengthen our shared commitment to excellence. With this collaboration, we look forward to enhancing our skills and expanding our collective knowledge to support one another to reach new heights in our professional journeys. To commence today's session, I would like to invite our principal, Professor Dr. Manoj Kamath, to share a few words with us. Sir, you may speak now. I think so. Yes, sir.
Hi, very good evening to all of you. Welcome to the second day of the 7-day faculty development program organized by Dempo's Charity Trust in association with our collaborating academic partners. First of all, I thank the collaborating partners, the principals and IQAC coordinators of the Chanakya University, Sahajananda College at Bhavnagar, Autonomous College in Gujarat, then we have Choice College from Pune and our sister institution, Dempo Charity Trust, Dempe College of Arts and Science at Miramar. I'm very glad as a principal of SS Dempo College of Commerce and Economics to welcome all of you, the participants, and also the resource person, Professor Raghunath ji from IIM Bangalore, to be part of this today's discussion. I'm very glad that the today's session is will talk about flipped learning or inverted classroom, where the instruction methodology is totally different in the sense it talks about deep learning, giving students a choice of learning, giving students an opportunity to view the educational material at home, come to the class, and teacher spends most of the time in discussing and implementing, applying the theories which are learned by the students in real life context. Who other than Professor Raghunath can take up this discussion forward, because we always know it is Indian Institute of Management, and one of the premier, as a premier IIM Bangalore has taken key initiatives in taking deep learning to newer heights. Professor Raghunath ji, I'm very glad that you are here to guide young budding teachers. Some of them are senior teachers, but then we have been confined to the classrooms of colleges. But with your vast knowledge and expertise, your experience in dealing with number of modern teaching methodologies, and dealing with matured students, some of the cream a la cream of the country, your experience will provide us new insights for our learning and to inculcate new learning habits amongst our students. Respected coordinator of today's program, Professor Nayak, the coordinator of our Bachelor's of Business Administration program, Tania Shirodkar, and all associate partners, I welcome all of you and I thank you for giving us this opportunity of hearing Professor Raghunath ji. Sir, welcome to Goa. Though we are based in Goa and we are connected remotely, I take privilege in welcoming you for today's session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your inspiring words. I would like to invite our assistant professor, Ms. Sharmila Swami, to introduce our resource person for today's session.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Andre. It is my esteemed pleasure to introduce Dr. S. Raghunath. Dr. S. Raghunath has been a professor of strategy at the Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore, for the past 30 years and dean overseeing the administration of IIMB from 2013 to 2016. He was ex officio member of the IIMB Board of Governors during his tenure as the dean. He has been an independent director on the boards of several companies and banks such as Vijaya Bank, Canara Bank, Spire Technologies, Sporus Technologies USA, National Venture Capital Fund, MECL, Bayer India, KIOCL, Centrix Asia, K2 Technologies, and Cloud Computing Innovation Council of India. He is a registered consultant with the Office of Project Services, UNDP, New York. Dr. Raghunath has published several papers in top international journals, case studies, and book chapters. Dr. Raghunath was the global director of the International Masters Program for practicing managers from 2010 to 11 and has coached many senior leaders of Indian companies as well as MNCs. He is also the program director of IIMB for the Aviation and Aerospace General Management Program and the MBA program offered in collaboration with Toulouse Business School, France, and Airbus. Dr. Raghunath is currently the chairman of the South Asia Board of the Academy of International Business, a global association of international business scholars and specialists. The mission of the Academy is to create, nurture, and empower a global community of scholars focused on creating, advancing, and disseminating knowledge in international business research, education, policy, and practice. So I would request you to start the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, ma'am. Just a small note. Participants, please note that if you have any questions, you can raise your hand and you can raise them. You can raise your questions towards the end of the session when Professor Raghunath will end the session and you can address them there. Thank you so much for your cooperation. With that, I now hand over the session to our esteemed resource person, Professor Raghunath, sir. So we are looking forward to your insights. Over to you, sir.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you very much, Professor Manoj Kamath, Madam Sharmila Swami, and I didn't get your name. You are gone off the screen. Uh,
Uh,
Mr.
Andre,
Andre.
sir.
Mr.
Andre,
Andre.
sir.
Mr. Andre.
Yes.
So, if you don't mind, will you unmute all the participants? Because I'm going to ask. This is a session on flipped classroom. Means what? That the ones who are in the class will talk more and I will talk the least. So I want you to unmute. Can you unmute all of them, please?
I'm sorry, sir. Our settings do not allow us to unmute all the participants.
Really?
Um,
But here it says mute all in the settings. So I have a feeling that if you I don't know, I think you should be able to know. You should be able to allow people to speak because I'm going to ask questions. Flip classroom means it has to flip from the one who is speaking, right? So if you allow them to
sir,
speak,
sorry,
then I
sir.
can ask questions. Otherwise, this will not be a flipped classroom. It will be a traditional classroom.
Sure, sir. Sir, give me a second. I will just ask my tech team about
Yeah,
this. Just give me a second. Just one
no
second.
problem. No problem. Please take your time. Wonderful. So, thank you so very much for the opportunity of meeting all of you. I am requesting for the mics to be unmuted for all of you so that we can have a conversation as we are going to talk about a flipped classroom. A flipped classroom, as you all know, is a classroom where the participants speak the most and the professor speaks the least. And if I don't even practice an iota of what I'm going to talk about, I think I will make a mockery of this whole thing. So I am looking forward to listening to your voices as well as to your views. So are we all set?
Yes,
So everybody can speak?
not all. They're still trying. Sharmila, you can put on your mic.
Yes, sir. I have.
Yeah. So there will be people who will be able to speak.
Few of us to begin with. In the meantime, we will try.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Great. So,
So,
huh,
sorry, sir. Sorry to disturb you. Uh, so I'm informed that all the visitors by default are muted. However, if they raise their hand, we can then allow them to be unmuted, sir.
oh,
So
right.
if
If
you
they
want,
raise the
so
hand, they can be
please
they can
raise
be
your hand.
unmuted.
At the bottom of your screen, you'll have a raise hand feature. So
Absolutely,
yes, sir.
absolutely. So now I'm going to ask the first question, and I will see who would like to speak. The first question I have for all of us is, in your view, what is the difference between the traditional classroom and a classroom where those who are seated in front of the professor or the teacher are participating in the class? So what in your mind is an essential difference? Anybody? Yeah, Dr. Geeta has raised your hand as I can see here. Yep, please go ahead. You are still muted. I don't see the unmute button there. Dr. Geeta is continuing to be muted. So is there a way to unmute her? Yeah. Go ahead.
Uh,
Yes.
Good
Yes.
evening, sir.
Yeah. Good
Uh,
evening.
I'm just trying to check the mic. That's why I raised the hand. First, I
Okay.
want to listen you your topic, and then after I will ask some questions. Sir.
You will ask questions. I thought I will ask questions. You are trying to reverse it. It doesn't matter.
Yes,
You,
sir.
of course, are most welcome to ask. Anybody else who is here who would like to say something? I asked a question, right? So let me see. Is there anybody else who would like to speak? Nobody wants to speak. All right. Is there somebody here who would like to say what your initial view is, that if you traditionally teach the way you teach versus if you do a flipped classroom, what happens to you and the ones who are sitting in front of you? Yes, Nigel, go ahead.
Generally, maybe content would be provided to them and they would go through it, analyze it, and ask the teacher about the content or ask the lecturer about the content with regard to case studies, real world applications, things like that.
All right, that's a good start. Who else would like to say something? Is that it? Nobody else? Nobody else? Nobody else wants to say? Dr. Jigar Pandya, yes, go ahead. He's put up he's put up his hand. Go ahead, please.
Hello, I'm audible,
Yes.
sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, in my opinion, personal touch is the main thing.
Okay. Excellent. Then we have Dr. Seema.
Yes, sir.
Haji,
Good evening.
good
So, can
evening.
you
Yeah,
hear me?
absolutely.
So, yeah, if we use a flipped this teaching method, no, it will be a two-way communication rather than one-way. Meaning, if you give a lecture, so you only will be the speaker like, and if a flipped method is used, so you can take inputs from the students or this thing, and their point of views also can be seen. So, mostly it will be like a group discussion. So there you can discuss many points like their views, your views. So you can gather a solution like this thing using a flip method. It's my view of thinking.
Why should you do that, madam? Why should you allow them to expose their understanding, misunderstanding, half understanding, no understanding to the teacher?
Because the content will be provided to them beforehand, no sir. So they will go through the content, and whatever questions they have, they will ask their queries or this thing. So it will be more like a group discussion.
So let me tell you what happened to me when I did a flipped classroom in a certain
Okay.
program where many other teachers who are teaching finance, who are teaching accounting, who are teaching statistics, those who are teaching production and operations and all of that. And then I came to teach and I tried to use the flipped classroom method. And the students turned around and asked me, in all other classes, our teachers have been teaching us. You are coming into the class and you are asking us questions. Actually, it is the other way around. We ask questions and you, as a teacher, are supposed to answer. That was my experience when we had a course where all the quantitative methods and the finance guys and the accounting guys were the other guys teaching along with me. And they all stood up and did the traditional classroom. And I came in like a bad cookie. And they were horrified. Students were horrified. They said, "What is this? You have come into the class and you have started asking questions." So, what do you think? I'm asking everybody. I'm only talking to Madam Seema because she volunteered to speak. But I'm asking everybody. So, what do you think is the reason why anybody should engage in this flipped classroom? Aren't the students not right in having the view that the teacher's job is to teach and not start with questions? I just want to hear. I'm, of course, going to speak. I have nice colored slides and all that I have. Don't worry, I will bore you. Don't worry. I will do all that. But I'm trying to find out from you why at all bother with this flipped classroom. Yes, Dr. Baloch Mehboob. Haji, please go ahead. He is muted. I can't see him speaking. So, will you unmute him, please? Hello. Hello.
So I'm not able to unmute them, but I have let them participate.
Okay.
So he will need to manually unmute himself.
He will have to manually unmute. We can't
Yes,
unmute
sir.
him.
No, sir. I gave him access to unmute.
All
So
right.
he will have to unmute. The
So till
unmute button is at the bottom of the screen.
Unmute
so,
button is the bottom of the screen. Okay. Yeah. So nobody is saying anything. I'm
so,
trying to ask.
so till then, can I speak? I'm
Yes,
Gilbert
please.
Mendes.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So I feel it depends on the topic that we are trying to cover. Many a times, if we are introducing a concept, uh, understanding the views of somebody about the concept and then teaching would make more relevance because sometimes you have different levels of learning. I mean, somebody coming in with some understanding of the topic or some misconception of the topic or some conception of the topic, and then you putting in a point forward would encourage the discussion better.
Well, wonderful. Excellent. Excellent. That's a great point. So here is a question I'm asking all of you. Let us take two situations. Okay, two situations. All of us. We are listening to the example I'm going to ask you, and you have to give an honest answer. I don't know how you will all speak, but somebody can speak on behalf of others. So the example is somebody gives you free food, lunch or dinner, and somebody gives you lunch or dinner, but you have to put down 20 bucks, 20 rupees. You get lunch, you get dinner, but first you have to put 20 rupees down. In which of these two lunches and dinners will people be careful, and will people really think about what they are eating and not eating, and in which of these will they eat everything, and which of these they will waste quite a bit?
20 rupees.
I'm using all this. I will show you all the theory and all that. That'll all come. Don't worry. That's the point. That in any context, even if it is finance, even if it is accounting, even if it is statistics, even if it is maths, if you ask the student to put in their 20 rupee, 20% of their effort in understanding something, they will understand as much as they can. And then when they don't get the 80%, you help them in that journey, because they will feel very engaged. They will feel very proud that they could understand. Very smart students can understand 80% without any help from a teacher. Very smart students. Students who are working hard will definitely get 50 to 60%, even if they are not totally smart. And the others will get, between 20 and there will be varied levels of grasping. But the point here is, when they have figured out what they can understand on their own, and then as a teacher, you come in and start increasing their level of understanding, the engagement in learning is very high. So I have practiced flipped classroom for at least 3 decades. And there are many others who are like me who have done that. But increasingly, that understanding of what a flipped classroom is and why should you even engage with it is coming down. Because, tell me the reason. Because why does a flipped classroom engagement from the teachers is not going up? Tell me why. All of us are teachers here, so you tell the truth. Tell me why it's going down. Come on, I'm listening.
Sir, may I?
Yes, please.
Sir, because sometimes students are not that much willing to participate in the flipped classroom. So we need to drag them out and we need to force them to speak then and then only this will be benefited or we can use that.
All right, Sheetal madam. Can you just give me a minute, please? One moment. I'll just be back. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. So, anybody else? That was a good point, Madam Sheetal. Anybody else? Why?
So another thing which I noticed when I try to practice flip classroom in my class,
Yes.
that when you give student material to read,
Right.
they don't come ready. They are not prepared. They have not even touched the materials. And then
Right.
when we ask them to speak, they speak something very, very general. So it ends up with the instructor giving them more details, and then flip classroom is converted into an normal class.
Got it. So what you're saying is student engagement is poor. They don't see any incentive in reading before they come. So they kind of, just arrive and hope for the best, right?
Yes.
Very good. I liked what you said, Professor Manoj Kawat. I really liked what you said. So as intelligent teachers, what should we be doing?
Well, then we ask them probing questions on the
Okay.
next day.
No, no,
But
sir.
then,
No, 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 sir. No, sir. No, sir. It is a very simple rule in life. Very simple rule in life. That the only reason any human being does anything is only for two things.
uh,
He will not park in the middle of the road if he gets a fine from the traffic police,
true.
or he will park in the right place if he were to get 100 rupee coupon for getting a discount somewhere, right? There is
Okay.
incentive and penalty. These are the only
Yes.
two things which work with students. Nothing else works. Okay. So now, very nice. So I like what you said. So what it means is that the first thing that we got to do as teachers is to understand that we have to attach a percentage of whatever marks or grades or
Grades.
all into this interaction.
So in our colleges, we find students don't read. What happens in your class? Do the students read?
No, sir, it is the same story. It is the same story. In fact, I think Sonal, you're there, right? Sonal, are you there? Oh, she cannot speak because you muted her. But Sonal is around. So Sonal is our doctoral student. I can see her name here. Uh, it is a
Hello, good evening, sir.
you see, there she is. So ask her. She will tell you how we guys modulate the percentage for class participation, modulate a whole host of things, just to make sure that the guys, it is in spite of their feeling of why should we read, they start reading because they know that there is a point to be taken away. So the rule here is that the way you incentivize a learner is to show that when he or she applies her intelligence, her mind, her concentration, her focus, then as a teacher, you are going to reward that person. You're going to recognize that person. So recognition, reward, say in presence of all others, telling a guy, Sabash, fantastic, what a point you made. The value of that for a student amongst peers is very high. So that is the way we do it. So we get them in, we get them in, we get them in. And there will be guys who will not participate. So a person like me, and Sonal is here, she will tell you that I draw up a list of guys who don't speak at all
Wow.
and catch them the next day and say, I haven't heard your voice. And they all know that keeping quiet is dangerous, because willy-nilly, when they are not prepared, I will ask. So the better thing is to speak when they are ready, right? So there are ways of getting students to experience their own capability to learn without the teacher. Now that's the most important learning that any of us can give to students who tomorrow will take on jobs or do business and there they have to think on their own. Nobody is going to come and feed them. Nobody's going to feed them. They got to think. They have to use their head, and they have to say that this is a way to figure it. So the idea here is that one must actually allow this kind of a culture. It's a culture. This is something which does not come just like that. And when they enjoy recognition, when they enjoy confidence that I can think to some extent, I can think to a great extent, students are ever grateful throughout their life. Even if they become 50 years of age, they will always come and say, you gave me the confidence in my own thinking and my own intelligence. And I think that is the greatest contribution any of us as teachers will ever make to anybody who attends any class. So what I'm trying to say is that this is a journey, and this is a journey which is not undertaken because you only madam, where is that madam who spoke just now? Chali gayi. Who said that students don't come prepared, and that is why you don't. But that is 50% of the answer. What is the other 50% of the answer? What is the other 50% of the answer? Sheetal ji bole the na? Was it Sheetal who spoke?
Yes, sir.
Hanji. So that was 50%. What is the other 50%?
We need to build up the rapport and get the involved the student likewise for their interest.
Yeah. So how will you develop rapport and involve students? Think. Sheetal ji, do you like cooking?
Yes, sir.
So when you want your family to eat something that you make, what do you do?
I need to make sure that I prepare that cuisine which they like only.
But if you want to prepare a cuisine that they like, what do you need to do?
I need to find out and figure out what kind of taste they are having and what kind of likes and dislikes they are having.
Accepted that you know their taste and you know their liking, then what do you have to do?
So I made it accordingly, according to their likes.
Can you make anything out of thin air?
Oh, not of course.
Yeah, so you plan all the
Yes.
ingredients, right?
Yes, we need
You
to plan and figure out what kind
plan.
of perception level the students are having.
No, no, no,
And
no, 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 madam, no perception, never. Where are you going? I'm talking about food and you're going to the students. I am saying that you want to make the best, whatever, I don't know what you make. Uh,
yes,
क्या बनाते हैं घर में that people want to eat?
we made the chapati and sabji.
अरे बाप रे. So if you are making chapati or sabzi, you know that you need the best flour. You
Yes,
need the right amount of oil. You need the right amount of water. You need the right amount of many other things, salt or I don't know what. All kinds of things you add and then you make it, right? It is the
yes,
same thing. You want students to feel engaged.
yes, of
The
course.
amount of work a professor does in traditional teaching versus the amount of work a professor does in flipped classroom, there is no comparison. I want to repeat this to all of you, that you can go with whatever prepared slides you have, or you can go with your notes and you open your mouth. And my joke about myself always is that when I'm speaking in a lecture mode, my ear hears what my mouth says. I'm not even thinking, the mouth is blabbering. Is used to blabbering the same damn thing for so many years, right? It blabbers. Then my ear is hearing what I am saying. Mindless opening of the mouth because it is all automated. For the past so many months, so many years, same damn thing. Lagao, 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 lagao. It keeps going on. And the ear hears. That's my joke about myself. I'm not telling anybody anything. And I say, oh, did I say such a thing? And it goes on and on. When you do a flipped classroom, madam, like you said, you have to find out what the family like, what taste they like, what soft chapati they like, what hard paratha they like. You have to figure everything. You have to construct it in a manner in which learning becomes interesting. It is not a simple thing. It is not at all a simple thing. So the question is, why should you be so interested in making learning so interesting? Tell me. Why should any of us be interested in making learning so interesting?
Because that's the best way for knowledge sharing.
Why should I, yaar? Oh, my salary is the same whether I make it boring or interesting. I don't get anything out of it. At the end of the day, 30th, 31st of the month, it is the same paycheck which comes in. So why bother?
To also improve the motivation level of the students because we have to retain them throughout. It is not one session. Hello, am I audible, sir?
Motivation level of the student.
Yes, because I think if we engage them thoroughly, then they also participate. Like, so what I do in my class is just to improve participation on the attendance sheet, I've started marking stars. So that's my way. So what I do is that at the end, I randomly reward the student who has maximum stars. So that is actually benefiting and it has improved my class participation.
What happens to you when you improve class participation? What happens to you as a teacher?
It actually boosts my confidence. I feel more engaging as a teacher. My learning is more fulfilled. I feel sense of satisfaction and pride when I go back.
Very nice. So you feel a sense of satisfaction
Yes,
and pride.
yes.
But
Hmm.
what else is happening to you as a teacher?
So what happens, tend to challenge my knowledge now because I have to go more prepared because I know students are assertive in my class. So it is actually challenging me that, yes, I need to prepare. So
Brilliant.
every,
Very nice. Very nice. So
so,
what
so
happens? Exactly. Very well said, Madam Krupa. Very well said.
thank
So what
you.
happens? The outcome of doing a flipped classroom is your own knowledge
Yes,
in your own area of interest or expertise continues to grow every time you teach. You become a more knowledgeable person. That is what happens. And if you become more knowledgeable, then what happens if you become more knowledgeable? Please tell me. Please tell me. Nobody is saying anything. If you become more knowledgeable, what will happen? Sonal, can you say something?
Yes, Professor.
So if the teacher becomes more knowledgeable in a flipped classroom, what happens?
You can engage with the students a lot better, and they can also look up to you if they have any doubts.
Right? Then what else? The third thing that happens is that you can actually engage with the real world. So if all of you are in the management or business education, teachers don't, in India there is a view that colleges and teachers teach theory, but in practice it is of no use. That's a general view. If you go to the US and you go to other European countries and all, that's not the view. But in India, we hold that view that college is a college, teacher is a teacher. This is all theory. In practice, it is different. And that's completely a misnomer because all business education is an applied education. If one cannot apply one's learning to actually doing business better or getting better products and services to people around, there's no point in having business education. So the thing that happens is that you become useful when real life problems are brought by businessmen of various kinds, right? They may be very small businessmen, they may be running medium sized business, they may be running large business, they may be in banks, they may be in manufacturing enterprises, they may be in services, everything. And suddenly you find that you are useful not just to the students, but because you have started the factory of producing more understanding and knowledge. I call it factory because you are now producing higher level of understanding, more current understanding that people then know that in your factory, if they come, you will give them the kind of understanding, the kind of clarity, the kind of decision making capacities that people lack. So, in other words, the transformation of a teacher in a flipped classroom is one of self learning, is one of knowledge accumulation, it is one of applying your own intelligence and your own thinking to what is current, what is relevant today, in whichever specialization that you are. So that is what happens. So I have a few minutes remaining. So I will now have the pleasure of putting up my wonderful slides, and I will now bore you in the traditional sense. So shall I go ahead, or you want to ask questions?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, ma'am Sapna has a question. She posted it on the WhatsApp group.
Yes, please read it out.
Yes, sir. Her question was why learning should be interesting, sir.
Where is Sapna, madam? Can you unmute her?
Sure, sir. Ma'am Sapna, if you're in the call, could you please raise your hand? No, sir.
Where is she gone? Sapna, madam, is she part of your Dempo Academy?
I doubt so.
You doubt. But where is she? Are you able to see her there as part of the participants here?
No, sir, I doubt. No, sir, she's not a participant.
She went away, is it? Oh, I want to see where she is. I'm going down the list here. सपना तो नहीं है नहीं चली गई. What is the point in answering when she is not there? Why make learning interesting? Let's make it boring. Good one. Yeah, anybody else? So I can still give you traditional lecture, but I'm more interested in you asking because it will be useful to you. So ask me, please ask me. We still have 14 minutes, so please ask me. If you don't ask, I will bore you.
Sir, when you let students to ask questions, should it be directed in a particular way? Should it be instructor led, or should we allow the students to go from this point to that point? What do we do? How do we keep the discussion focused?
So, Professor, I'm going to answer your question based on my experience.
Yes, sir.
See, when I was new to this whole thing, right, this is the Harvard case method. It started off as Harvard case method, and there was a professor who came from Harvard and ran, I think, 2 half days of sessions as workshop for us, trying to tell us how to. So this is actually called student-centered learning. So this word which you use as flipped classroom is actually student-centered learning instead of teacher-centered learning. So the teacher says something, everybody learns. This is student-centered learning. So you kind of flip the learning responsibility onto the student, right? So the learning responsibility is gone to the student. Now, as you rightly said, these guys won't be motivated, so you have to give them grade, you have to give them marks, and then they will all do it because they want that. They are not exactly participating, but then they understand that that is very good. Then they learn how to learn. Learning how to learn itself is one of the biggest competencies in anybody's life throughout their life, whether they are earning a degree or whether they are engaging in real business or professional life. So it's a very big competency. So what are you doing? You are actually getting them to learn the technology of learning. You are putting it inside them. So to your question, when I was new, like the question, I was very nervous about allowing this to go free flow. Okay. So I would sit and anticipate all the questions which will come. I will spend 4 hours on a classroom which will run for 75 minutes, and I will say which are the all possible questions. I will write down and I will come prepared with those answers. Of course, I'll wait for the questions to come. Okay, so that was when I was new. Then when I did it for 4 or 5 years, I understood one thing, which is no different from what we know as Lego pieces, or those puzzles which come.
Yes.
There are broken pieces and you have
You
to
need to
make
fit them together.
Ha, ha, ha. So what happened, when I became like more comfortable with myself, because I was a little worried about, what will happen and all. Therefore, I was wondering what questions, and then coming prepared with all those, and seeing if any of those come. When I became very experienced, I realized that everybody will be giving one piece of the whole puzzle. Okay, they will stick it here, they will stick it here, and there will be gaps coming. There will be gaps coming because you are no more worried about what will be the questions, and how it will go. You become so confident in filling those gaps in their understanding. So suddenly you will be like a classical singer. Professor Manoj, did you ever learn classical music,
I
Hindustani?
follow it very closely, sir.
No, but have you learned any rag?
Yes, I did.
You did. So a learner of a rag has to go through Sarega, Ma, Pada,
Yeah,
Nisa, and
Aroha
then
and Avroha.
Avroha, correct? So
Yes.
the learner is always worried कि यार आरो बराबर जाता है, अवरो
Avro
बराबर
barabar jata hai. Correct.
आता है. All that nonsense will be there in the head of the guy who is practicing for the first time a rag.
Correct.
But when you sang the damn rag for 5 years,
Yeah.
you can pick the rag at any point.
Correct. Because you know the boundaries.
And you will swing it in a way in which everybody says, wow, wow, Pandit Professor Manoj Kamath ne kamal kar diya. You know why? Because you have found, just like a jigsaw puzzle, you know where the gaps are and you go and fit it. So the power of flipped classroom only comes out of practice. It does not come out of, saying, Ab kya hoga? Ab kya hoga mane kya? It is like jumping into the pool.
Correct.
You will swim finally, you will never sink. You never sink. No flipped classroom situation, any professor sinks. No, it never happens. Because as this Madam Dr. Krupa rightly said, it becomes so interesting both for the teacher as well as for the student, that you just revel in that whole process of making it happen. And therefore you get better, you get better, you get better, you get better. So to your question, yes, when you do it for the first time, you anticipate all the areas where students will not understand, and you have to come prepared. But then as you go along, you will become so good at noticing what they are understanding, what they are not understanding, what they are understanding, what they are not understanding. And the gift you give them is not the knowledge of your subject alone. The gift you give them is the knowledge of how to learn.
Very nice. Very
How,
nice.
yeah. How to, I tell you, I have students here, 30 years. Some of them are CEOs, some of them are in the US. They're very, they hit it, jackpot, they're top. I am surprised that they even now come back and want to say hello to me. And they don't tell me why, but I can make out that something within them, it is like a switch. And when that switch turns on, none of us forget, right? None of us forget in our life people who, जैसे वो सेंटर फ्रेश का जो ऐड आता है, दिमाग की बत्ती जला देते हैं, ऐसे फटाक देख, the switch goes on, and whoever brings that switch inside one's own head is never forgotten. I mean, you don't do it because you want people to remember, but what I'm trying to say is that the gift of understanding is not the complete purpose of a teacher. Today, if you go to Chat GPT, it will give you all the answers. You don't need teachers. But the gift of learning how to learn is just something which is so invaluable that a teacher gives. The confidence that the teacher gives in a student that he or she can unravel any concept if there is a method that they follow. And the teacher who gives that confidence in their own intelligence, in their own thinking, in their own levels of grasping, is a teacher who has used the flipped classroom to its ultimate level of contribution. Ultimate level. It's an ultimate level. I mean, I can tell you, initially it is a lot of hard work, but the more you use it, the more people feel confident about themselves and confident about learning. Yes, so another 6 minutes. Any other question?
Good evening, sir.
Yes, madam.
So my question is, students in the class are interested for first few minutes, like half an hour maybe or 40 minutes at the max. Then after that, students are like not so much interested. How to keep students engaged for the entire class, sir?
Give me an example of a class or whatever you are discussing, and I will tell you how that will be made interesting. Tell me, give me a class and what did you discuss and where did you find them losing interest?
So example, if I teach personal financial planning subject, that subject, sir.
Correct.
Yes, sir. So for first few minutes, they'll be interested, like 30 minutes or 35 minutes. After that, they are like distracted.
Correct. So what is the first question that you ask in a class like that?
First, okay, I'll give them I'll tell them regarding the subject matter, and yeah, I'll try to ask them the questions and all regarding the topic.
Yeah. So don't do that, madam.
Okay, sir.
Don't do that. See how I started today's session. Did I start with a statement or did I start with a question?
So
Today, what did I do? Did I make a statement or did I ask a question?
so questions.
Mm.
Yes, sir.
First rule, you open your mouth, you say, I have given you, what students are they? These are MBA or these are bachelor's degree?
So bachelor, sir.
So they are younger. So you
Yes,
say,
sir.
I have given you 10 lakhs of rupees. Now you can talk to a neighbor of yours. So you can form groups of two each. And I want to see which of you is going to think of a plan where these 10 lakhs will at least become 15 lakhs in 1 year.
Okay, sir.
Oh, then you see what happens to them. They will, tear their hair. They will say all kinds of things. Then they will also think that they don't do enough, but they will apply themselves. Then not everybody will be able to do, but some fellows will be smart.
Yes, sir.
They will say then you put up all their stuff up on the board saying this one said, this group, these two guys said this, that one said, you put some 10 things up for 20 people and everybody will get into the game. And when they get into the game, actually speaking, you are teaching them financial planning because whoever has thought about something in a manner in which others have not thought, they are applying a concept or a principle that actually you want to teach. So you get the examples out of them, no?
Yes, sir.
And you know what? They are very happy. You know why? Because they said it. They thought about it. And they imagined things. And there are others who can't even imagine. So they will say, wow, you can go this way. You understand? Their interest will grow. And some of them will come and say, teacher, if I were to give you 1,000 rupees, can you make it 2,000 in return? They can say stupid things like that. But, that is the way you do it. You never, ever try and make statements and try and, preach to anybody. Don't do that. Get them to think.
Yes, sir.
Simple. Make everything simple. Start. So one rule in flipped classroom is start with the familiar.
Okay, sir.
Familiar means that which is known to them. Always. Start with that.
Okay.
And then keep asking, keep asking, keep asking. And they will, as I was telling Professor Manoj Kamath, you'd be surprised that out of 20 things that they should know to do good financial planning, they will, I take a bet, they will come up with 10 easily. The other 10 are the only things they have to learn. And when they learn those 10, they will be ever grateful to you. You know why? Because first you gave them confidence that they are capable of, learning and understanding themselves. Second, they start getting a lot of trust in their own intuition, in their own ways of understanding. And third, they feel very grateful to you that you plugged those gaps where they themselves cannot understand or they cannot think. So you bring. So that is what you bring. You don't worry about if it goes down means what? They're not thinking.
Yes.
They're not contributing. No human being grows out of infancy. You want to challenge me on that? You know what is infancy, right? The child is a toddler, is learning to walk. No human being comes out of it. You know why? Try keeping a toddler engaged.
Yes.
On showing a lot of interesting things, right? Otherwise, the toddler will make noise or fall on the floor, scream and shout and bore, and all that stuff. Interesting. You have to keep on providing artifacts, providing like crayons or colors. You have to show them different things and say, now this is like this, now it is like this, now it is like this. So you have to create building blocks of learning. And
Yeah.
every building block must be unraveled and understood by them. You don't do it. They are capable of doing it. So it is a flipped classroom is about confidence building in students, in their own intelligence, in their own power to analyze things, in their own power to put all the analysis in a synthesis form and be able to see the totality of it. Where they don't see the totality, you as a teacher helpfully come and plug that one gap, saying that, if you were to add point number 5 to point number 1, 2, 3, and 4, you see how it is. And then they will say, got it. And that's all you do. That's all.
Thank you, sir.
Haji, so time is up. I can see it's 7:01. Thank you very much for the opportunity to engage with all of you, and I hope this was useful and wish you all the very best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So as we conclude this enriching session, if any participants have queries, please feel free to bring them up. You can ask questions, as we said. You can raise your hand up on the Google Meet. There's a palm button. You all can raise your hands, and I'll allow you access to open your mic, and you all can speak. You all can ask questions. Only the first 5 questions will be entertained. Thank you.
If there are questions coming on chat or on WhatsApp and all that, you will have to read it out to me, and then I will answer. Okay?
Sure, sir.
Yeah.
So on behalf of Dr. Geeta, she said today's students want to discuss at their own topics. They did not want to give answers of teachers' questions.
Example. I want to hear. Example. Madam Geeta, are you there? Dr. Geeta, are you there? Yeah. Will you please tell me? You will have to unmute her, na?
So she has been given access. Ma'am, if you press your microphone button, you will you can unmute yourself and you can speak. I've given you access.
Okay. I'm audible, sir.
Yes, very much. Yeah.
Most of the, for example, my subject is economics.
Correct.
And it's a very practical subject. Although I won't give them the practical knowledge about the market, and it's a practical subject also, but they always interested their own topics. That means their friendship and other things. They just like to just for example, I give the example of elasticity of demands. And there are so many products, so they just discuss about their own way, not try to listen or understand the topic that the teacher want to discuss them. So scenario I think have totally changed today, the students, um, because they thought ki Google is the basic uh, platform for the knowledge. No need of the to listen the teachers, they can get the answers from there. So that is my point of view.
Very good. Very good. Dr. Gita, what you are saying is that they feel that if they want any answer, all that they need is Google, and every day they have to pray to God that the Wi-Fi or whatever internet is working for them. If God doesn't give them the Wi-Fi and internet, they will be dumb, as we say, as a dodo, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Dimag
yes,
काम
yes.
नहीं करेगा, they won't know a damn thing. So while that may be okay, so what you are saying is earlier only a printed page was the source of knowledge. A teacher was source of knowledge. Today, a teacher need not be a source of any information. All information in the whole world is available everywhere,
Yeah,
right?
you're
So
right, sir.
nobody requires anybody to do that. But the question is, it's a very good question you asked. So, which brings you to the question as to what is the role of the teacher today? And what do you think is the role of the teacher today? And what?
Basically, we yeah.
Uh,
I to want to discuss the recent topics and related to
no,
the
madam. No,
subject
madam.
and other,
No, 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 no,
and
no.
try to.
I'm not talking about economics. Generally, I'm
Yeah, yeah,
asking
yeah, yeah.
if information is available to everybody today by putting a search word on Google,
Hmm.
what is the role of a teacher today?
To satisfy their answers if they ask.
No, madam. So let me answer it. I think I should now tell you things which will make it a little more clearer. You see, this is like saying that today, if you want to make a dosa at home, you don't have to actually grind the flour. Today, you want to make something at home, you will get ready mix, right? But the point here is that when you get all this and you put it on the tawa, and if you try to turn it, it should come out crisp and it should be edible, correct?
Yeah,
Today, in the world of education, information does not get value. Everybody can get information. Everybody can get salt, pepper, sugar, chini, raw material, everything to eat. Putting them together in a manner in which it is useful is a big challenge, right?
yeah,
The ability to, what big word for it is synthesize, putting things together in a way in which it can lead to a decision which involves so many factors. The ability to think, to analyze, to bring things together and then see a pattern in it to synthesize is all that you bring to human beings today. You cannot bring information. So, first of all, in my view, what you must be doing is if you are trying to teach elasticity of demand, I would want you to bring different products or different things to the class and distribute it to a set of students in different groups and say, was if the price will go up, will the demand come down? And if you think the relationship between price and demand for each of these products is going to be different, in your view of a group of three each, if you give students 10 groups of students 10 different products that you bring, small things you bring, you know what, they will understand the principles behind elasticity of demand. It is application. And then they understand what they don't understand. I want to give you a very good example of one of our professors who was trying to teach IAS officers in the MBA program. Not now, many years ago. He was a professor from Harvard. Okay, Indian, but from Harvard. So one day he came up and told me, these guys don't listen to anything, like you are saying. Then I said, very good. So he said, what do we do with it? Because I was also teaching the same IAS officers. So I said, hey, you are going and lecturing to them? He said, yes. I said, completely wrong. They will lecture to you. So don't do that. They said, okay, then what should I do? I said, do you have case laws? Do you have cases? Do you have case laws? He said, yes. I said, take a very short case law, which is not running more than 2-3 pages, and go and put it in front of them in the topic that you want to teach. And please ask them for their understanding, for their opinion, or whatever else they know about law, because IAS officers, senior guys, right? Those who have done 20 years service, 15 years service, they are very senior guys. I said, you ask them, no? What do they think? And what's their interpretation? How would this go? You know that I still have not forgotten that particular day, which happened many years ago. That professor came back to me and he told me, he called me prof because I'm older than him. He says, Prof, nobody has told me this one secret which I got today, because I was struggling with all my classes. And today, these guys stood up and clapped for me because all of them were fighting with each other in terms of whose interpretation was correct. And in the end, when he provided a clarity about understanding how the law and how the concepts were actually put into practice and what was allowed in jurisprudence, they clapped because that clarity element which they were missing, that professor provided. He did not open his mouth and start giving them lecture about what it is all about. They didn't want that, right? They are very intelligent. They know a lot. You cannot go and tell them what this is. So it's the same thing even with students who don't know much, that they always can know without your support. You must get to that level of understanding. What can they know without your support? Change everything into examples, newspaper articles, which actually, if they analyze, they argue, they will still not have total understanding. Then you provide them that, you fill their gap in understanding. Bring your concepts in that context. Don't generally talk. They will really appreciate what you're doing. Try it, madam. Try. You will like it.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah.
Hi, sir. So we have another question on the WhatsApp chat. So the question is, in this lifestyle where students come for attendance, is it possible for flipped classrooms? Since you talked about students from IIMs. Also, please note that this is the last question.
Sorry, there was a call which came in. I just put it off. I couldn't hear the whole thing. Please, can you repeat
sir.
it, please? Yeah.
Sure, sir. So in this lifestyle where students come for attendance, is it possible for flipped classrooms? Since you talked about students from IIMs.
Yeah, so when students come for attendance, it is even better. You know why? Tell me why, if students come for attendance, it is even better. Because, 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 what do you think? Come on. Because they don't have any choice but to come in front of you. Right? So you are assured audience. When assured audience comes in front of you, what is the first responsibility of the teacher? Tell me. They have come because they are forced to sit in front of you. What should you be doing? This is like forcing a child who doesn't want to drink milk because milk taste is not good. but this mother and this father are forcing me to drink because I have to grow up. The child refuses to drink milk every morning. First thing in the morning, the damn milk will come in front. I don't want it, but these people call, they're my father, my mother, these people trouble me, even sometimes grandfathers. But I have to drink this damn milk. So what is the first responsibility of a teacher in a class with compulsory attendance? Tell me. Come on, all of you know the answer. What is it? Smitaji, yes, please tell me. Your hand is up. Hello. Hello. What happened? I'm not able to hear her. Madam Smita Bandare Kamat.
Smita, unmute your phone.
Good evening. Good evening, sir. I had to unmute it. It took a little longer than I expected. Uh, Actually, I had raised my hand to ask two questions, but then I think that can be kept on hold. I will respond to your question, sir.
Very good.
Yes. So, what is the teacher expected to do when the students turn up in class? Is that what was the question that you
They
had
have no
asked?
choice but to come for attendance. Huh?
Huh. So we have to make sure that their time is not wasted and they get whatever worth their time. I mean, in the sense that they should not feel like they were compelled to be seated there for 1 hour, but they should go away with some takeaways. They should feel that the session was worth their while.
So how do you,
And they should also look
very
forward.
nice. So how do you start a session where you know that these people have come not because they want to come, but they have been made to come? So what is the first thing that you do with them?
Okay, it depends where I am in the session. I mean, in terms of syllabus, in terms of time constraint, keeping all those factors in mind, I will then take a decision as to how do I proceed. Because at the start of the year, we have plenty of time to ensure that, the things work out in a more leisurely manner. But there are other compulsions that come up with time. So it is all, subjective, rather, I would say.
Madam,
Yeah.
just try this rule out. You can spend 1/3, 33% of your time just getting their interest into what you are going to discuss.
Yes, sir.
Don't
Yes, sir.
worry.
It
Don't,
is.
don't worry about coverage. I'll tell you why you shouldn't worry about coverage. Coverage speeds up when interest goes up. Please
Yeah,
remember,
definitely. I agree. I
there is
agree.
nothing about the teacher having to cover and all. If they get interested, the speed at which they will all follow what you are saying and the amount of attention they will give you, you
True.
yourself
True.
will be surprised because they have got interested. So
Yes,
1/3 of
definitely.
your time, don't worry. You just talk about what is it that interests them in relation to what you are going to discuss, right? So
True.
don't
True.
worry about it. Always think about what is it that will interest them. What is it that will interest them? You start there. You start there. You start. Don't worry. Coverage will happen. Coverage will happen fast.
Yes, ultimately we
Ah,
learn how to get along the way. But that's okay. So can I also ask you the two questions that I had in mind?
please.
So the first question was, what should be the ideal strength of the student in the classroom if I want to engage? Like there's a lot of discussion that happened that we need to keep them engaged. So what should be the ideal strength? Should a smaller group would be more ideal as compared to, we normally have around 60 students in a class. So would you
Yeah.
suggest?
So the thing is, if there are 60 students in a class, you can. How much time do you have in a class?
Around, depends, like around anything
What is the
around 50.
duration? What is the duration of a class?
We have 1 hour class.
60 minutes.
Right.
In 60 minutes, you cannot engage more than 10 students in an interaction.
True.
what I mean by not that you cannot engage more than 10, but if you want to really become intense, it will not, you cannot have more than 10 guys because it will be 5 to 6 minutes a person. It roughly around that time. Roughly. It will always be 5 minutes will vanish in no time. So what you have to do is to, like we do, and for all further reference, we have Madam Sonal Naik, who is here with us. She is at IIM Bangalore. She's about to finish her PhD. You can ask all clarifications to her. Not that I will not answer yours, but she's
No,
there.
that's okay.
The first thing you got to do is you got to come up with names, particular names of students which you want to engage with in a class, and engage in a manner in which they feel that you are appreciating their half understanding, little understanding, and you want to start a dialogue. So when you start a dialogue with 10 people, I guarantee you 20 others will jump in because you are engaging with 10. That is the power of interaction. The teacher is speaking only to X, Y, and Z. I also have an idea. I also think about this. I also have a question. So it will actually cultivate a arena of triggering a lot of people in that whole
Okay.
process. You have to do that, madam. Don't worry about anything.
Yes, yes,
You do it,
yes, yes.
and you will enjoy it. You have to, all of this is you learn through experimentation. You have to try.
True.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
What is the second
Uh,
question?
the second question you've already answered, because I was thinking like, how do you engage everybody? Because the grasping power is apart from the grasping power, the social skills. I mean, how do you not every child is comfortable expressing themselves. So getting to know the psychology and the grasping power and all that takes a little bit of time. So by the time we are in the middle of the semester, we get to know each child, and that is when I feel this flipped classroom would be more ideal, is my personal take. I may be wrong, but
It's
like
very
you
simple.
suggested,
The one who speaks the least
right? So you
and
get
is,
to know
yeah,
over the
and
span of time.
is worried about anything and everything, even if there is a single word or a sentence uttered,
Right,
you must highlight and say, that is a very important point. The
right.
moment you say that, I'm telling you, see, the impact that teachers have
True.
negatively and positively is so very high. I have
Right.
to tell you that for the longest time in my life, I felt I cannot draw. Longest time in my life. Till I used my iPad with the pen, and people who saw my caricatures and drawings started calling me an artist. And I was thinking, how come for so many years I felt that I can never draw? You know why? Because
Yes.
that drawing teacher who was teaching me in the first
Yes.
and third and fourth standard told me I can never draw in my life. Every time I drew
True.
something, that is what she did. And she would take my knuckles and give one with that wooden scale like this. Bit, 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 bit. And it drilled into my head I can never draw. Till I became a full
Okay.
adult. Till I got an iPad which has a pencil that can put all colors. And when I showed all of this to a lot of people, including
Right.
sitting in plane seats, airplane seats, I draw people sitting next to me.
Right.
Please don't
Right.
draw anybody else. Nobody will sit next to me. I draw people's faces. you know, and everybody who looks at it says, wow, you have such talent. And I was thinking, for so many years in my life, I believed that I can never draw. The problem,
Nice.
yeah, no, the problem with teachers, all of us,
Right.
we don't know how much impact we have on our students. We treat the guys who don't talk or the guys who
True.
don't
True.
look. No, they are all seeing what signals you are sending to them.
True. Like I always tell my student, I'll just stop after this because I'm taking a lot of other people's time as well. But I tell my students, you fall in love with a subject simply because the teacher is in love with that subject. Unless the teacher is in love with the subject, that love cannot, sort of encompass others. So this is the philosophy I believe in. So I normally pick up subjects that I would love to teach my students, which I feel is quite contagious. I'm not boasting. And incidentally, about caricaturing, what has happened to you has something similar has happened very much with me. So it is only in my middle, life sort of a thing. I started into caricatures and cartooning and stuff like that, simply because, like you said, your teacher was not very maybe patient or whatever be the case, but the impact took decades to heal, and any which ways, it was nice, sir, talking to you, and thank you so very much for attending to all my queries.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your questions. However, these are the last questions we were taking. However, I have made a small exception to my team. So my team on the back end, in the background, they are working very hard, and they had a small question. They were all closely listening to your session, sir. They have a small question. Uh, the question is, in this generation, due to the disparity in age of the teachers and the students, sometimes the teachers tend to know a lot more on certain topics. However, on other topics, the students tend to know more than teachers. So, what do you think are a few topics that would strike an equal balance so that the teachers and the students can engage on the topic equally?
That's a very nicely framed question. Who is this person?
Sir, my name is Andre Pereira.
You are asking.
No, sir. Sir, our team is on the back end team. We are all here. That's what all of us were listening closely to your
So,
lecture.
but who formulated this question? I'm asking.
So one of my colleague is here with me. He is Mr. Rahil Chauhan. He's right here, sir. Good evening.
Ah, very nice. Excellent question. Very nice. Excellent.
Nice.
Very nice. You see, this is exactly what a flipped classroom is. What he has asked, the idea of creating a discussion and an interaction is that there is a third element which emerges, right? What is that third element? Where is your, hey Chauhan, idhar aao yaar.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Have you ever used a matchbox?
Yes, sir.
When you open the matchbox, what can you take out?
A matchstick, sir.
Matchstick. Now, what are the elements which are in front of you in your hand?
A matchstick and a station light, a matchbox, of course.
So remember, it is the same situation in a classroom.
All right, sir.
There is a matchbox and a matchstick. There is a teacher and there are students. Correct? When you strike the matchstick against the matchbox, what is the third thing that comes out?
Fire, flame.
Which was not there before.
Yes, yes, sir.
You got that? The reason why this is the question of the day, and you have to give him a Cadbury chocolate on my behalf.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Is that's exactly what a flipped classroom does. That people who know what they know and people who know what they know much more, they bring everything together and they get suddenly something much more than what they had known before the class. That is what happens.
Some very wise words, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I'm saying this in all seriousness. I'm saying I'm not just giving you an answer.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
That the more students talk about what they know and what they don't understand, and the more the teacher unravels what they don't understand, both the teacher and the student understand what is not known and what is to be known. That is what happens. It's a joint construction.
Yes.
It is not an individual piece. It is not just the matchstick and the matchbox. There's no point. That is the traditional form of teaching. I know what I know, you don't know what you don't know, and then it goes on and on. These guys will decide, I don't want to know what you know.
Yes,
Right?
sir. Yes, sir.
I have paid the fees, I have to write the damn exam, and I will go to Google. That's what happens.
Yes, sir.
But the moment you start striking at each other in terms of a conversation, in terms of understanding a certain context, example, event, whatever, you are all putting together what you know with each other, and you create much more than what you have known before.
Yes, sir.
And
Thank
when when that happens, everybody feels happy.
you.
Everybody feels happy. Very well asked. Congratulations to you. And are you going to give him a chocolate on my behalf?
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. I will do so.
Very nice.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
That
so
really
much, sir.
answered the question really well. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. So, as we conclude this enriching session, I would like to thank, on behalf of DCT Srinivasa Sinai Dempo College of Commerce and Economics, I extend a heartfelt gratitude to Dr. S. Raghunath for his time and expertise. We all have learned what a flipped classroom is and how to apply our own intelligence and how we utilize these methods and how to practice flipped classrooms. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your wonderful stories. I would also like to thank the participants for your keen and active participation and for helping us with this faculty development program hosted in association with Chanakya University, Bangalore, Choice College of Arts and Commerce, Pune, Swami Sajanand College of Commerce and Management, Gujarat, and Dempe College of Arts and Science, Goa. A big thank you to each of you joining today's session and contributing to the learning environment. Lastly, I would like to give you a glimpse into tomorrow's session, where we have Dr. Viraj Mahamte joining us to discuss a film-based teaching approach to help you enhance your teaching methods by making them more entertaining, attention-grabbing, and intriguing, allowing for better attention retention. It promises to be another engaging and enlightening session, so we hope to see you all there. Thank you so much, everybody, and good night.
Thank you, Professor Raghunath. And Andre, beautifully done. Huh?
Also, we also have a small announcement that post this session, we'll be adding the classroom code along with the link through a mail and WhatsApp. So please join the classroom and access the day one video recording. Thank you so much.
Well done, Andre. Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
so much, sir.
Thank you, Professor.
No. Thank you. All the best.